they sent the dates or whatever. So of
Hmm.
course, immediately my eye went straight to June 12th,
Okay.
which is the Toronto date. And I was like, I have a passport.
Man, that's
I,
a true road game.
Life is like a basketball game. Sometimes you're up, other times you're down. Opponents and adversaries coming at you left and right. However, it's not the challenges you face that define you. What defines you is how you play the game. And I play to win. Welcome to my world, Carlton's world.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Carlton's World. It's your boy Carlton. Now, today, we have a special guest. So this is pretty much a part 2 of the Kendrick pod that I did because this young man hit me up in my DMs and said, "Hey, man, you should have invited me to talk about this."
I did.
So, but I was like, of course, I mean, I can oblige because it's Kendrick Lamar. So, of course, you can never talk about Kendrick Lamar too much. So, without further ado, I present Ken Makin of Making a Difference. How you doing today, sir?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good, man. Glad to have you on. Um,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I told you this before. I probably did. I can't remember. You know, you get older, you kind of forget what you tell people. But I remember a funny story is people always try to introduce me to you.
You told me that.
and funnier is like sometimes I tell people about you, and then later on they try to introduce that same person will try to introduce me to you. I'm like, I told you about him, like. And for people who don't know, me and Ken grew up together. We went to the same church. We've known
Yeah.
each other since childhood. So eons of years.
Yeah.
Eons of years. It feels like eons.
No, man, it's been a while, but no, but I'll just say this too. It just goes to show how fast a year goes by because we had this conversation actually up at the news station.
Yeah.
So, and that was January. That was actually the first 365 of the year.
Yeah.
So appreciate you for that, man. And obviously you've done some great work within that framework. So
I appreciate you, man. Like I said, of course, I'm proud of you, all the great things that you're doing. Um, all the think pieces that you do and everything. So thank you so much for what you contribute to the world.
thank you, man. Likewise.
No problem, man. All right, let's jump into it because you have some things that you want to say about Kendrick Lamar, especially this new project that has dropped, GNX.
DNX.
Your initial thoughts when it first dropped, because I know for me, like I said, I obviously I told the story already on the previous pod. I was driving into work and there it was. I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "What is this?" Because like I said, it was no rollout. It was just literally. I rolled into work. I was on Apple Music, and then next time I refreshed it, and there it was Kendrick's new album, and I was like, "Oh, he dropped new music!" And it was this. It was a wonderful surprise.
Hmm.
So I definitely tapped in when well, not immediately because of course I had to go to work, but when I had some time. And because with Kendrick's music, you have to really digest it. Like
Cool.
you listen to it one time, you get the feel of it, but then you really have to listen to it a few times to really digest the different things that he's saying within each song. So, what were your initial thoughts when GNX dropped?
Similar reaction. I do just want to say this first. The phonetic similarity with our names, because my name, as you know, is Kenton Jamar. So it sounds a lot like Kendrick Lamar. So I got to put that out there for the listeners up front. But no, as far as GMX, similar, dynamic or similar situation. That Friday, just kind of sitting around, chilling, and then all of a sudden got a text like Kendrick's dropping singles, and I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. Not singles, whole album.
Right.
So was pleasantly surprised, and I actually had the good fortune to listen to some of it at that time. You know how first listens go. As you alluded to, you're just trying to see, what's catchy. So I basically sped through the album. I didn't, and just for example, like Luther, I think Luther is the song from that album that's got the most streams. But like I didn't even think, to stop it with Luther at first, because after I heard Squabble Up, that was where my mindset was.
Mm.
So I didn't even listen to Luther maybe until like a few days later, really stopped, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But in short, really good album, really enjoyed it. I think it's reflective of Kendrick. There are times where Kendrick is just like, really calm, really, reserved, and then there are times that he just, really you know, uh lashes out, has a lot of energy. So we see a lot of that. It's obviously not just an appreciation of the West Coast, I think, with this album, but I think specifically a lot of Tupac energy there, even, of course, talking about reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just overall, a really good album. I know, when it comes to folks, and look, everybody's got an opinion now. I wouldn't say it's a 10 or anything like that, but it's certainly, I give it a 7 or an 8. And, a lot of folks are saying, well, hey, there's another album that's coming this way. So, hey, we'll see what that entails. But man, Kendrick obviously is on a great run. I'm wondering if he can sustain this level of output. I don't
Mm.
know if you remember DMX, God rest his soul. DMX was on fire. Came out with, I want to say, 3 albums, not even in 2 years, like 3 albums in like 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, by that 3rd album, it was like, man, it seems like, you know, uh, the content, not necessarily that the albums were lacking, but you can kind of see just like kind of this slow decline. And I think it's just the nature of making music. You go through songs. I like this song. I don't like this song. You want albums to be commercial successes. Just a lot of different things you got to think about. And so Kendrick has had great commercial success, even going back to Like That, which wasn't, his record specifically, it was a feature. But, between Like That and Euphoria and, excuse me, Meet the Grams, of course, all of it, with the crescendo of Not Like Us and the success that's come off of that. So that is I don't want to say it's a concern, but I think it's something to look at, as, we're looking at projections of new music.
Why? I'm wondering what makes. What are your thoughts as far as why you think there is another album coming? Like, because I know like a lot of people are saying that this is like a prequel, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
to whatever. I mean, I again, I'm not a music analyst. I don't know. I just enjoy music.
Sure. Likewise. Likewise.
But so I don't really be thinking like real too deep into it. But what do you think? Why people are saying like this might be a precursor to something even bigger coming up?
I've seen some fan theories and just some really cool stuff about just the nature of GNX. GNX being something that, well, GNX, the car itself, was a part of this bigger rollout.
Okay.
And so Kendrick, as we know, is very intentional. And I'm going to share some with you that I had really been thinking about writing on, but I'm going to look little prequel, if you will, here.
Okay.
So one of my favorite movies is V for Vendetta. And I don't know if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, highly recommended, especially in this political climate. Though I think it's always relevant. It's an anti-establishment type of movie, V for Vendetta. Anyway, there's a line in that movie. He's like, I spent 10 years laying down these tracks. And that reminds me a lot of Kendrick. Of course, there's the Drake beef, and depending on your perspective, that goes back, to the mid 2010s, almost early 2010s, and the layout, of this, this series of Drake disses is something that feels like Kendrick has really thought about, and even to the point of, just like how he's been dropping music and dropping albums, even more recently, it's like, okay, so you had Like That, and that was almost bait. So then you get Euphoria. And just for me personally, Euphoria is my favorite Kendrick record that has, that's come out since the back and forth with Drake. Because again, Euphoria just comes from this place of just really crafty and thought out, not just rhetoric, but you can tell it's like a focused contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, a lot of us get angry and we don't know how to control ourselves. But Kendrick is, again, a very deliberate, angry person. I don't know. I think that's just the, part of who he is, part of, and he's described this, of course, in his music. But I'm saying that all to say this. GNX, I believe, is a part of like a bigger rollout, a bigger, but in short, mixtape.
Okay.
GNX feels like a mixtape.
Okay.
And it feels like a mixtape. You can kind of go through the track listing. It's okay. We come out with Whacked Out Murals. That's kind of a, reflective song. Then Squabble Up, look, banger. Luther, like slow tempo. And it's almost like the album is almost manic, and it's like highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. It doesn't feel like an album in which, the album kind of, we reach this like again, like crescendo in terms of, just excitement or storytelling. Like this really just feels like, it's a series of great songs that's been put together. I'm talking about GNX.
Mm-hmm.
So I would anticipate, maybe before Christmas that he will put out something, and clearly the man doesn't need rollout.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
doesn't need promo. We're talking about, I think 300K first week with nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, just hey,
that would be if he does, that would be an amazing Christmas gift.
Absolutely.
I'll take it.
But the other part of that too is you got to think we got the Super Bowl coming up.
Yep.
There are just huge opportunities here, for him to look. Depending on your perspective, I'm thinking Kendrick, just Kendrick personally, has got to be in this place where the response from Not Like Us, like Kendrick, I mean, from my perspective, was always a superstar. But I think just even within the framework of like pop music, like we would say that Drake is, a bigger pop star, not necessarily a bigger rap star, or excuse me, more proficient at rap. But as far as just household name, we would say Drake is more of a household name than Kendrick. No slight on Kendrick. Not Like Us has taken Kendrick into a different stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go? Where do you go from here? And with someone like Kendrick, who again, has been pretty clear about his feelings on the industry, on Drake, on on all of these different topics. And like, where does that put him in this place? Because he strikes me as a guy who really just wants to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like who, really doesn't lash out until, you approach him. And then, we get, look, 6 months plus of great music.
Right.
So shout out Kendrick.
Right. What I enjoyed about GNX, like I said again, like you said, you get a really good balance of his music. Like I said, you get this poetic soul. Mm-hmm. You get this person who's reflecting on his life, his career, who takes accountability for things, especially in Heart Part 6. And you just listening to this again, this gentle poetic soul of a person. But then again, you got this other side, like, yo, like he's a bear, he's a beast, like, yo, he's definitely like let people know who he is and what he can do. You know what I'm saying? So I love the like you said, I like the back and forth. I enjoy the back and forth again. Like you get the real animated joints, and then you got the real calm, smooth joints that again that make you think and just make you reflect on different things. What are your favorite tracks? I know you mentioned Squabble Up. What are your favorite, like your go-to, like again, GNX, you can listen to it no skips. But if you one day you only had like 15 minutes in the car, what are your go-to tracks for GNX that you have to listen to before you got in the car?
Great question, man. I got something else I want to tack on too, because look, this may be on your schedule, but no, we got to talk tour as well.
But anyway, yeah, for sure.
But to answer that question, definitely TV Off. Like TV Off is, oh my god, and beyond the mustard bit, which I mean that's very dramatic. We're gonna hear it, from bands, and we're gonna hear it like we hear Not Like Us.
Mm-hmm.
TV Off, just in terms of favorite tracks, but we'll do it this way. TV Off is without a question my most favorite record, most favorite song on the record. But from there, I pretty much can go back to the beginning of the album. So it's TV Off, Whacked Out Murals, Squabble Up, Luther, and what's that? Luther, Man in the Garden. So
Yes.
that's
Uh,
pretty much how I listen, to like those tracks. The rest of the tracks, I mean, we can say they're second tier. I mean, they're still, quality records, but that's just my listening preference.
yeah.
Are those five? Yeah.
I was hoping you would say "Man in the Garden." I'd be wanting people to list that song. That song is just so good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like I said. Again, it's so mellow, but again, it's just that first of all, that one mic beat is
Mm-hmm.
just it like all that, and then like I said again, it's just it gives you that the visuals that I see with that, and like I said again, I could just see a lot of things with that song. My sister Carmen, she told me a visual that she thinks that he should do, and she told me she DM'd him and was like, I had the
Okay.
visual idea, so you just never know what could happen. But I told her, I said, yo, that's a really good idea for that song,
Mm-hmm.
very good idea. But yeah, I really hope he does the visual for Man at the Garden. Man at the Garden. That's actually my favorite track on the whole entire project. I love that.
It's so it's and this is the thing again. Kendrick is so intentional. When you talk about one mic, there's a line in one mic where Nas talks about, Jesus, and dying at age 33.
Hmm.
So there are like these, religious undertones. Man at the Garden, of course, could be Garden of Gethsemane.
Hmm.
So, and of course, Kendrick makes religious references, in Man at the Garden. So I can only imagine Carmen, her visuals may be something of a religious orientation,
Hmm.
which, I mean, my options, options, options. In terms of just kind of like painting this picture, as far as, Kendrick, look, that was the hard part five. I mean, that was a great visual where, I mean, he didn't go anywhere. He just incorporated AI. But I can only imagine, just what can be done with that song, just in terms of like the lushness of being in a garden or
Hmm.
just the loneliness. I mean, you could. I'm thinking about a lot of different, just elements of hip hop and tying in Nas. And I mean Nas, who has been unafraid, to use religious type of visuals and look in the past. Look with a certain rapper who shall not be named, but
Right.
but yeah, but no, that's my go-to. But let me say this, man, about the tour
Okay.
because I was excited to hear about the tour, and then I saw the ticket prices, and I'm like, oh man, we're gonna have to come out with another album because that kind of knocked me down a notch, man. Because those tickets are up there, man.
Brother. So okay, so when Carmen, of course, Carmen is the one that be on it.
Mm-hmm.
So Carmen said it in our sibling group chat. She was like, "Hey, she sent us the date. It was either Carmen or my brother's wife, Akia. It was one of them. They sent the dates or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
of course, immediately my eye went straight to June 12th, which
Okay.
is the Toronto date, and I was like, I have a passport.
Man, that's a true road game.
I might want to venture out to Toronto. And then I saw, of course, I saw the Atlanta date. I mean, the closest ones obviously Atlanta, Charlotte.
Mhm.
But yeah, then Carmen sent us the prices, and I was like, oh, um, he might gotta do another free concert on Amazon. 'Cause
And it's one of those things that it's a sign of the times. We all have our criticisms of Ticketmaster and so on and so forth.
uh-huh.
But I just, and hey, this is the artist. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But
Yeah,
man, $200 for the nosebleeds, man.
brother.
I think you price out, a lot of the fan base, and maybe that's intentional. I mean, if we go back and even think about the pop out on Amazon, you look in that crowd was, I mean, was not like us. So, and I mean, that may be what happens, with this tour that's coming up. But I just think there's a certain energy, and I can't tell Kendrick what to do, but Kendrick SZA on an HBCU tour would be dope. Just something to think
Mm,
about.
yeah, that's true.
Especially with the Not Like Us, you got like two or three like legit like band hits. You know what I mean? So, it'll be a different crowd, but I think the energy would just be so pure, and I think it will be more reflective of not just Kendrick's music, but just Kendrick as a person.
That's a good perspective. That's a very good perspective. I really, because I really, and I told Kendra this, like I really want, like this is before even he announced the tour. I had said if Kendra, when Kendra does the tour for this, I really want to go. And then of course the tour was announced. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you saw the prices, and you're like, okay, realism sets in. It's like, okay, what bill do I really want to sacrifice this bill to go to this concert?
Yeah.
So like I said, I do really want to go, man. But like it's just like these prices, though. They, and I can't,
But
and I can't tell you. I'm not gonna be like, hey, lower your price, son. I can't tell you that. But I'm just like, okay, realistically, financially, I'm like, am I willing to sacrifice something to go to this show? So that's what I'm thinking about right now.
yeah, no, it's cool. And I mean, you look, we both might end up going because I'm definitely looking at the Charlotte show. So that Atlanta show is on a Tuesday, and I think that'll be more difficult. Well, just depends.
Hmm.
I know, me. Look, married with kids, that Tuesday show is going to be tough. Now that Saturday show in Charlotte, which I imagine will be very well attended, maybe comparable to the Atlanta show because again, it's a weekend show.
Hmm.
When you just talk about, just regionally, you're going to have a lot of folks coming into that space to see Kendrick. And, I really do hope I'm fairly confident it'll be a good show. What we also have to think about, too, is that you are seeing two top tier artists for the price of one. So the last time Kendrick went on tour, he went on tour with Baby Keem. And no disrespect to Baby Keem, SZA, totally different situation. So I think that's something else you got to consider when you look at, just the cost of the tickets, look however exorbitant or high they may be. So I think it'll be a great show, great tour, and definitely interested to see what happens in Toronto.
Yeah, that's that.
Aren't we all, right?
Right, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and just be keep it 100. I'm not the biggest SZA fan.
Mhm.
Um, my siblings get on me about that. They've gotten on me about that. It was like I'm a hater. But hey, here's the thing though. Okay, so Ken, me and Kendra went to the Missy Elliott concert,
Mhm.
and I'm not the biggest Sierra fan, but however, that whole concert I was up. I was even up on Sierra parts. So going to this concert, I might be up, even I might still be standing up on SZA part, even though I'm not like the hugest fan. I might just be up getting it. I mean, it's just the energy of the room and just the energy of music. It's like you just get into a space where you just enjoy it, even if you're not necessarily like the biggest consumer of that person's music. So
Absolutely. I'm curious to know about Sierra and SZA. Is it just certain songs or just certain vibes? Like what? Because I mean, we all, everybody has. Hey, I don't really like that artist, even though they're popular. I'm just curious.
so with Sierra, back in the day, she just used to irritate me because there used to be so many Aaliyah references. And I'm a huge
Mm.
Aaliyah fan, and I was just like, nah, she ain't Aaliyah. Nah, stop it. Stop the madness. Stop. That's blasphemy. Stop it.
Mhm.
But over the years, I've grown um to to like her music later on.
Mhm.
Um, with SZA, it's certain songs I like, and then certain songs just sound like she has like cotton balls in her mouth. It sounds like she's just not really opening her mouth. She's just singing like that, and it's just like open your mouth. I don't know. It's a stylistic choice. But like I said again, if I go to the concert, I'm sure I'll be up during her set as well.
Mhm.
I'm sure I'll be up waving and everything again because it's just the energy of the room. So
Mhm. There are
yeah.
people who are saying that about Luther, and I'm laughing. The beautiful thing about Luther is when two people get on a track, and you look, whether it's singing and rapping or whether it's two rappers, like there are just moments, man, where that synergy is just apparent. And Luther is one of those songs, man. Like the way that, and to be clear, like this is not unfamiliar for Kendrick and SZA, which is why that tour is gonna be dope. Because man, they get on the track and they make magic. Luther's a beautiful song, and of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't give credit to late great Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn. I mean, who created their own energy on that record, and it just made be something that it was easy for them to follow
Mm.
because you just kind of had this back and forth. But I just think lyrically, it's a simple but effective song. When we talk about Luther, and it really accentuates this album slash mixtape. I think it's a really beautiful song.
See, and that's so in our siblings group chat, like I said, I was telling them I actually Luther. So if I had to rate, put the songs like on a list,
Mhm.
Luther would actually be my last song. But
Wow.
yes, but I my favorite one of my favorites is Gloria.
Okay.
I love Gloria,
Okay.
and Scissors on that.
Hmm.
So like I said, it just I think with certain songs it depends on if I can tolerate Scissors' voice or not.
Mm.
It just depends. But I like I said, I love Gloria. Again, I love when Kendrick uses symbolism to tell a story, and then it's like he reveals what he's really talking about at the end. It's just like sir, you are a genius.
That's it. Pulitzer Prize winning artist.
I was telling my coworker this yesterday. I was like, this guy is a Pulitzer Prize winner
Hmm.
because she's a huge Drake fan. So we have these we
We
have
still
these
have those.
we have these fun debates at work, and I was explaining to her. I said I don't dislike Drake. I don't dislike him at all.
Mhm.
But as far as when you talk about as far as lyricism, it's Kendrick all day.
What I like about what Kendrick has done is he's created a clear distinction because I do think that was something that was really lost in the sauce. As you know, people say, "Well, Drake, best rapper, greatest rapper," and so you have these conversations about Drake, Jay Z, so on and so forth, and Andre 3000 is in there. And I personally think when you compare best rappers, it's in a lot of ways it's apples and oranges.
Mm,
Drake is being the obvious exception because Drake's success has largely been, in this like pop or popular realm. And not to say that popular is derogatory, but I think when I say pop in reference to Drake, I think people know what I'm talking about. Like he's not your um tradition. Well, I'll put it this way. Drake is not hip hop per se. So hip hop, is like, Most Def or, Outkast. I think there's a separation that Kendrick has reinforced, in a sense, with a song such as a Not Like Us.
mm-hmm.
To say, hey, look, here's our, here's my problem with you as it relates to, I feel like you're someone who takes advantage or takes from the genre as opposed to, offer something constructive or positive. And it's whether you agree with it or not, Kendrick has made it a compelling commentary.
Yeah.
And it's made it a very catchy commentary that the world is singing along with. I mean, the literal like world, that song is global.
Right.
So yeah, I just again, I continue to go back to Kendrick just as being a very intentional artist, a very intentional writer, and as both you and I are in the media space, I think it's just something that that really draws our attention. Is this brother is really getting his point across?
Yes.
You know what I mean? In a way that is not it's intricate, but it's not difficult.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So Ken, I did this on, like I said, my previous episode. So I'm gonna throw this question at you.
Okay.
I want you to rate for your personal favorite to I don't want to say least favorite. I like I said again, I love all Kendrick's projects, but
Mm-hmm.
from your favorite to on down,
Mm-hmm.
all his projects, I want you to place them in order.
You
Your
said projects?
Yeah, like it's his
Mm,
albums. Yeah.
man. So Good Kid, Mad City is at the top. Yeah, GKMC. I love To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great album. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that album gets a bad rap because I really don't think people appreciate the instrumentation. I have To Pimp a Butterfly on vinyl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So let's see. We got GKMC. We got. And I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So GKMC, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn. Yeah, that's third.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to make sure I'm forgetting anything.
So if you're including and then you got Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Oh no. So okay, thanks for that. Because that's I was looking for that, and of course I'm. So what I'm going to end up doing with Kendrick's earlier projects
Okay.
is I'm gonna end up. So we'll do it this way. I'm begrudgingly putting Mr. Morale at the bottom.
Ken, I did the exact same thing. Like on my thing and again, to me, that's not a bad project.
No, it's not.
It's not. But as far as in comparison to what my go-tos, what I listen to, and like I said, just the relatability of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I definitely put that album on. That's at the bottom of mine too.
Yeah.
Like you said, begrudgingly, because it's a good project.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, so we got Damn. I would say after that, Section 80, then GNX, and then Mr. Morale. That's how we'll do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you placing overly dedicated anywhere? Or are you just leaving that off?
I'm leaving it off because it's a mixtape. Look, I see what you did there.
And then I'm assuming you're leaving Untitled Unmastered off too.
I see that now. That I'd have to put at the very bottom.
Okay.
And again, not a bad project.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting that one at the bottom.
See, I cheated a little bit. One of my good friends, Kevin, he was like, "Bro, you can't do this." I actually put To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn like second, both of them, because
Wait a minute now.
I did, because it's interchangeable for me. Like, it's some days I feel Damn over To Pimp a Butterfly, and the other days I feel the To Pimp a Butterfly over Damn. So I'm gonna put both of them second, and then and then with the last one, like fifth, I was like, because I'm not putting anything at sixth place. I'm just not doing it. So with fifth, I was like, we're gonna put Untitled, Unmastered, and Mr. Morale. We're gonna put them both at fifth.
So let's break this down real quick. To Pimp a Butterfly versus Damn. So no, I don't want to say definitively, but I will say like To Pimp a Butterfly by a hair.
Okay.
The instrumentation for one. Man, but that's so close. And the reason why it's so close is because like Damn's got some hits.
That's why I placed both of them second.
But To Pimp a Butterfly was just exceptional storytelling, man.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Exceptional storytelling, and
I agree.
Was very and I've used the word deliberate, but just as far as a concept album, and just high standard, very high standard. And not to say that that Damn wasn't a concept album. I mean, clearly it was. It's an album that you can literally listen to front and back. But yeah,
and then listen to that one back to front and get a different message.
That was, oh man, that was just that was dope. That was so dope, man. But again, this is a guy who, as as we've talked about, has really he spent years laying down these tracks, and it's just man. So we can only imagine. I don't know. I mean, there may be other rappers who have slighted Kendrick, and Kendrick may have So you're an X-Men guy, so you know what I mean when I say this. Xavier Protocols.
Mm-hmm.
The Xavier Protocols was loaded up on Cerebro.
Mm-hmm.
It was Professor Xavier had come up with a way to basically neutralize or eliminate every mutant.
Mm.
So Kendrick's probably got a list of, hey man, if this rapper ever come at me crazy, I got an album for this guy, or I got a song for this guy. Because I mean, this dog, look, Kendrick had a plan.
That was apparent.
Man had a plan to get Drake up out of here. And when I say get him up out of here, like Drake is obviously too much of an asset, in terms of just the industry to entirely eliminate. But people feel a lot differently about Drake than they did maybe 6 to 9 months ago.
I agree.
That's without question.
Yeah. What this will be the last thing, and then I know we both got to go. What do you have any expectations for this? What I believe is going to be a great Super Bowl performance. Like, what do you want? What do you want to see?
I'm pretty. I don't want to say indifferent about the Super Bowl performance.
Okay.
I just think there are a lot of things I always consider when it comes to Super Bowl. For one, just the NFL product is going to be totally different than what we'll get from an album or even from a tour.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are certain things that he can't say, or even separate from like the pop out. something that Amazon presents.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't have any expectations per se. I think it'll be one of those things where I think we'll learn a lot about Kendrick as a performer. I think it will go well because these are things you have to think about. Like you really can't do the entirety of Not Like Us on the
Right.
Super Bowl stage.
Right.
But Kendrick has, enough songs at this point. He has enough of a catalog to put together a good performance. I certainly think. But I think it'll hit different than bringing out the entire West Coast or, like in Usher's case. Like Usher's catalog is kind of tailor made for a Super Bowl performance. I think Kendrick, that has yet to be determined. Not to say that his catalog isn't sufficient, but just how does Kendrick execute that on that level?
Does Kendrick bring out Lil Wayne?
I don't think he's bringing out Lil Wayne. I don't think he is. So, but I'm glad you mentioned Wayne because folks were like, "Well, man, he's disrespecting Wayne," blah blah blah, and it's like, do you listen to music or do you just skim through it?
Mm.
Clearly, the man is expressing, a level of respect.
Absolutely.
I like the Carter Three, so on and so forth. But and even Wayne, bless his heart, man. But then somebody said, "Well, man, Kendrick don't want to mess with Wayne." I said, "Look, this is what I want from Wayne. I want Wayne and Cordae to release an LP or an album because they put out two great songs, man. I don't know if you listen to Wayne and Cordae. They put out Saturday Mornings. That was a really good song. And then Back on the Road. I recommend both of those.
Okay.
That's what I want from Wayne. Wayne, not maybe 10 years ago, maybe 5-10 years ago. This would have been a great rap beef, but nah, I'm good on that.
But there's nothing to beef about, though. I just, like I said,
to be clear,
like,
right? And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah.
I mean, I like you said, I feel like Kendrick was paying homage to him, and he was just basically saying like Kendrick has worked hard for this moment, and unfortunately, this caused a disturbance. He just said his hard work. He felt like unfortunately let one of his rap heroes down because Lil Wayne was expressing how like he felt like he was let down that he wasn't a part of the Super Bowl. Like you said, it's either like are you just listening to stuff to just cause problems, or are you really listening to what he's saying?
Right. And the other thing too is we have to understand we're in this age of of rage bait. People will literally just say anything to get likes and views and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just folks who really just aren't able to differentiate. But as somebody who listens to the music, like I get it. Like Kendrick and Kendrick has expressed this disappointment previously. Like, and that's what makes the Super Bowl performance so ironic, is because Kendrick is somebody who has expressed his gripes with the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But the Super Bowl performance is undoubtedly like creation of the industry, even down to like Jay-Z's contribution or presence, with the NFL, like that partnership. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm being polite here because, I have my gripes with the NFL and, with some of what Jay-Z does. But just on the whole, we'll see how it all shakes out. Kendrick will do the Super Bowl performance, and then we might not hear from Kendrick for a year. So, or say for the tour, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we'll see, man. Kendrick and not Wayne. Wayne, as much as we would like to see him, pull that off, I don't see. We've seen Wayne's performances in recent months and years, or excuse me, in recent years, and it's not anything worthy of a tour, let alone the Super Bowl stage.
I can see, like I said, from the clip. I've only seen clips, but from the clips I've seen, I can see why he wouldn't have been asked.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think because Kendrick is for the culture, and I think Lil Wayne will come out briefly. I'm not saying for a long time, but I think Kendrick will bring out Lil Wayne briefly. I think personally. We'll like I said, we'll see. I know SWV. I think one of the group members posted saying because they sampled one of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying it would be great if we can get out there. So I think a lot of people I think this is gonna be I think it's gonna be a memorable performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be a good one. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, honestly, I don't even watch the Super Bowl, but I mean I do tune in for two things: the Super Bowl performance, and I tune in for the food. Like, what are we eating? So what are we doing as far as food? That's the only thing I look forward to on Super Bowl day: the Super Bowl performance and what we cooking.
For
So
sure. But let me say this too. Let me say this too about the Super Bowl really fast. Is
okay, go ahead.
generally if you go back and look at your those halftime performances, like a lot of those songs are up tempo.
Mm,
So you probably won't get it at the Heart Part Six at the Super Bowl because it's a song with a slower tempo. Even and that's what I'm saying. You probably won't get SZA at the Super Bowl because Luther again that everything's going to be up tempo, which was why you might see Lil Wayne because I could see them tying in the Kendrick record with like a quick a Millie verse. That'd be
yeah,
crazy.
I think he's gonna bring SZA out. They're gonna probably do that song from Black Panther.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So you're definitely gonna incorporate. Definitely gonna incorporate some Black Panther up in there for sure. So yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what he does. And again, he's going to be very intentional, obviously. So there's going to be some type of message. So
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. Ken, is there anything else that you want to say before we log off?
Oh man, listen. As always, Carlton play for president. Shout out Maine. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the two hardest working brothers in Augusta. So salute to you guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Love what you guys do with the movies with the top fives. So
Bro, we got two episodes coming out. So I'll go and tell you the next two we recorded we did the um top five R&B female groups,
okay.
and we specifically stuck with 90s 2000s because again it's a plethora, and so we'll be there all day. And then we did top five TV dramas.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the top five TV dramas, we had comedian EJ Rogers on there, and
Yo, he's
yeah,
hilarious.
it just it's yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited about editing these so y'all can see
Mhm.
them because it just went crazy.
I'm about to say it went off the rails. If EJ had anything to do with it, nah. But shout out EJ, man. That
Yeah.
oh my god, I've been laughing at him. Look, he's still looking for the girl. So yeah, man. Shout out EJ.
Yeah, man. Like I said again, shout out to Maine, shout out to Slim, shout out to everybody that's doing positive things in the community, man. And again, a big salute and shout out to you, sir. I definitely appreciate you, and I'm grateful for our friendship. And thank
Likewise.
you for being just instrumental in the arts and everything that you do. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate it.
Likewise.
Yeah, man. All right, y'all. That is it. Thank y'all so much for listening and or watching. And until next time, thank you for being a part of my world. Peace.
Peace.